to Upstage Downstage with him, Richard Platt, seated in the upper circle.
And him, Stephen Rees, typically seated in the cheap seat.
This is the Theatre Podcast, where we discuss productions we've seen,
Things we've liked,
and may not have liked,
giving our complete unprofessional
and non-biased opinions.
So grab a brew,
Take a seat,
and let's raise that curtain. On today's episode, we'll be discussing The Hound of the Baskervilles. We saw this production at the New Vic Theatre, Newcastle under Lyme, on the 8th of March 2026. Adapted for the stage by Stephen Canny and John Nicholson, and directed by Joyce Branner, this acclaimed reinvention of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's most famous tale mixes intrigue, sharp humour, and a dash of theatrical chaos in a fast-paced comedy caper that will leave you howling. So, Stephen, what's it all about?
Legendary detective Sherlock Holmes and his trusty partner, Dr. Watson, are called to the wilds of Devon. Sir Charles Baskerville has been found dead. The footprints of a giant hound discovered next to his body. All signs indicate he's the victim of a mysterious family curse. Will Holmes crack the case? Can Watson keep up? And will they catch the demonic dog?
But first, our post-show opinion!
A performance that was sheer elementary excellence.
A masterclass and a masterpiece of a production.
So, with all that said, let's
Set the scene!
So Richard, we are fresh back from Newcastle under Lyme after seeing at the New Vic Theatre The Hound of the Baskervilles. And what a treat it was. We went on a bit of a whim because we saw that Alex Phelps was in this production, and we've seen him previously in Stephen Joseph Theatre in Scarborough in Noise Was Off, and he was excellent. So we thought we'll come and see what he's in this time round, and we thought, well, okay, Hound of the Baskervilles, let's go and see that. But also what we didn't realise was the fact that Tom Richardson was also in this, who we've seen previously in Abigail's Party and also Just Between Ourselves for London Classic Theatre. And we knew he was in good hands here. So we thought, okay,
Yes.
So we've got some good actors that we know of so far. And also we've got the writer and director have worked with Complicity and the movement direction for Accidental Death of an Anarchist, which we saw in Sheffield, so we knew it was going to be a really good production.
and
we saw
also
everyone else.
39 Steps and...
Yes, but we didn't see that.
No, but what I'm saying is that with the level of understanding the style of theatre, I think it's clear that these productions lean into what we saw tonight.
Oh, they do, yeah.
That's what I'm getting at, as in, you know...
But we don't know what we were going to see yet. Do
No,
you know what I mean?
No,
we
but
can only go
only,
with...
Yeah.
Right, so, set the scene then, Richard.
Well, there was not a lot on stage.
There we go then.
No, this is
Couple
an
of boulders.
in-the-round production, and yeah, there was an accent of a sort of mound of rocks on one side of the stage, on the floor space, and there was also an archway above one of the entrances onto the in the round performance space, which didn't give really anything away because it was very much a bare stage. No, on the floor, I think it was green and purples, slightly faded, painted across the floor with a lot of almost stone effect flooring. Really, there was no. It wasn't really descript. It was more just as to create a different space to what you walked in when you walked up carpets and things. It just gave you a bit of
looks slightly grey to me.
Yeah.
Disagreeing already. Yeah, so this is again one of those where it starts with a bare stage and then just adds to it little by little in different unique ways.
Yeah, I mean, this was a production where basically everything was brought in on wheels or on dollies, or everything was evolved from what I like to call sort of suitcase theatre. Everything was brought into the production rather than it being already situated. So you'd got Sherlock's scene where basically a wooden trolley was brought in with a shelving unit and a chair and artifacts you'd find in a Sherlock's house. But that's all it needed because it was just shoved into one corner and that was it. And then there was a table and a footstool come side table, a chest. There was not really a lot more than that. And then a full size doorway for Sherlock's house. which was a big blue door with knocker on and number and everything.
Excuse me.
Yeah, just the one knocker. And then what transpired is the actual the stone mound came apart at the bottom, where actually that became part of the rock pools that were being walked across and stuff later on in the show. So
And we had many things come on stage,
Yeah.
didn't we? Most notably, the fireplace as well. That came on and
Yes.
off a few times. As you say, everything was on wheels. So we
Yeah.
had a bed and a snooker table.
The
at
only
one
thing they
point.
concealed really well on the stage was actually there was a false floor bit where
Yeah.
it's actually a lift that dropped down to create some of the scenes. But we'll come into that later. But that was there but it was well hidden. You couldn't really see it when you walked in. You didn't really really notice it was there.
Are you quite familiar with the story of this?
Not really.
No, I'm not.
No.
I've never seen it or read.
I got
read
the
it.
premise that I think it's all a ruse, as in it's a production that portrays that there's this mythical creature in the woods that gets people when they go out on the moors and it attacks somebody, when actually it's not that at all. But that's as much as I know, really. I think one thing we maybe touch on first is adaptation of an old text to make it something that a watchable piece of theatre now, because these are stories that have been established years ago. For me, when you talk about writing productions and adapting other stories, I think that as faithful as it was to the story, there was little twists and turns in it that I really like to keep people engaged and make it fun for an audience, because it was actually quite a long performance.
Yeah,
Though
it was,
it didn't
yeah.
feel like it. The pace was great. The way it was written, because it was actually quite a wordy piece of theatre.
Yeah.
There was a lot that was being delivered to you. There was a lot of dialogue. There was a lot of things, but it was interspersed with little bits of humour that clearly
Little bits of humour.
Yeah, well, what I mean is it was probably nodded to in the book, but actually they ramped it up and added more humour and elements that felt... I suppose what I'm trying to say is it was like 4 people playing these parts within this story, but switching between reality and being a character, and you saw a bit of that as well. And I think that's hard to write and adapt to put into words, basically.
Well, they came to this production as starting off with one particular scene that was very much the actor acting, and then
Yes.
it broke with Alex Phelps coming in and then saying, hold it, and then they turn into... Well, they don't turn into the actors. They are the actors to stop it and then reset it and start again. And then it's, in a way, again, I like noises off, a play within a play.
Yeah,
it
exactly.
felt. And then you just started going from the beginning all the way through. But you could definitely see the experience of the directors, both the physical comedy director of Nick Havison and also Joyce Branner as a director, how they brought all these things together, getting from one scene to the other and making sure that every line of dialogue is delivered perfectly, is nuanced. They've really worked so hard on this to deliver a masterclass of a production, and making sure that you can get the most out of a line, the most out of a movement, because there's a lot of physical comedy in this.
Loads.
It's really difficult to know where to go, because I want to talk about the actors, I want to talk about the movement, and then I want to talk about the comedy. So it's...
And I think, the reason I brought up the way it's adapted, to write a play within a play isn't an easy thing to do. To write something to feel... Because there was a lot of time where it felt natural for these characters and the cast members. They blurred the lines really well, where you felt like you were being taken with them almost, and they were talking clearly out to the audience, but they were clearly in the character talking through a script. But I think they knew it inside out. You could tell there was a level of confidence there.
I also feel like because they spoke to the audience and came out of the characterizations to be the actors at the very beginning, it just sets up the whole premise of the show and the style and tone of the show, and know that this is going to be like a knockabout comedy, farce in a way, that for the absurd things that happen, you've got to be on the side of it being like that. You can't take it too seriously, so you've got to make it known from the very beginning what you're in for.
Yeah, exactly.
This one's a really difficult one for us to break down into our segment chapters, because we feel like, because there was only 4 of them on the stage, to separate it into talk about the writing separately, then the direction separately, and then another section for the actors and the props and costumes and stuff like that. This doesn't feel like it fits our normal formula.
No.
So I think what we'll do is just chuck everything into the bag and talk about everything, because it deserves everything.
I think for me, firstly, I'd like to, because we're doing it in a different way, I think we need to shout the cast out straight away.
Yeah.
Because Alice LeBird, Jerome Marsh Reed, Alex Phelps and Tom Richardson, honestly, to watch them all perform in close quarters, just get on with the production and just do it justice. It was a dream, really. There was moments where I sat watching going, is this really actually happening? Because these characters were just jumping off the page, you know. Yeah. And you know,
well, from the very beginning, you had Tom Richardson come out over egging the whole actor trying to act the particular scene.
Exactly.
And then Alex Phelps comes straight in and sort of like cut all that.
Yeah.
And you call that walking in the fog.
Yeah, exactly.
Sending each other up. I mean, as I've previously said, we've already seen Alex and Tom in previous shows, so we know their caliber of acting, and we were not let down whatsoever. And also, it was a joy to see the other actors perform alongside them, because we really had a strong 4-core cast of talented and incredible and amazing people that just kept everything going all the time, and the energy.
Yeah, exactly. And Jerome's character as Jay, he was quite the silent role throughout the whole production. Really, he was the
new Vic
technician,
Tech, basically, wasn't he?
But he was also, he was runner. He was this. He was that. He was the, and it's always a role that I'm quite fascinated with, because everybody, it's easy to think it's quite a throwaway role. But actually, it was the glue between all the little bits that happened on stage, and he was always there to grab something or catch something or move a bit of set or react to something that was happening around him. And I think that gave you some form of safety that this has been choreographed to such a level that
absolutely,
there was times when Jay's character would put his arm out and grab one coat and pass another item of prop and walk off in such a smooth motion that it was almost sleight of hand magician level stuff. And I just think it's not a character that should ever be forgotten, really, because I think it was such a great performance in that way.
But also, I think it was due to the directors, and I'm going to say both of them here because I don't particularly know which one did which for whatever part, but utilising Jay when he brings in the fireplace and just shoves a vase on his head just to be in the scene, that is impressive. Exactly. That is so stupid, but it's so funny. And it gives you, it gives that character something to do whilst being a presence. He's not just brought it on and just staying there. Exactly. He's being part of it. And he had a boulder on his head a few scenes actually, and other items of clothing for whichever part it.
Well, it's like running around with a picture frame and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was thinking, what was it? The sandwich board thing of the
the sauna,
the sauna, that
steam
was
room.
Yeah,
that's it. Just and just waving a smoke machine around it, and it sounds like just something so throwaway, but it wasn't when you see it in action.
And the leaf blower and stuff like that. Funny. That was good. Yeah. Again, it all comes down to physical comedy.
It does,
doesn't it?
Well, it's the clown in the room, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's the unspoken part that gets reaction by just being that physical laugh or that physical movement that makes it jump off the page. I've said that too many times now.
Yeah.
And I think this whole production, when I mention clowning, this whole production is a fine example of clowning and clowning movement in physical comedy.
Are you talking about like comedy dell'arte?
I'm talking about clowning as an art. As in clowning as an art form where actually everybody reacting to each other in the right way at the right time. And it sounds stupid, but when Jay was a rock, he ended up being sat on.
Yeah,
and it's just such a slight moment, but if you get it wrong, it looks stupid, or he can get his hand stuck in the rock and to then be sat on, and then for him to be climbed over, and if he didn't react the way he reacted, it would just be another moment that was lost. Whereas that he pulled another laugh out of being stood on, and it shouldn't, on paper it shouldn't work, but when you see it live, it's so funny,
Sometimes those roles aren't necessarily written on paper. It's
they're not.
We need to keep you on the set.
Yeah, exactly.
So
We're going to make most of it.
Yeah, how can we make jokes out of this?
Yeah, exactly.
Another one of the core cast was, as you've already said, Alice LeBird. Now, I thought she was just fantastic. She was like a little firecracker. She was just hilarious. Everything she said, everything she did, she got the movements nailed down.
Yeah.
And particularly when it was trying to react to the sound effects and the certain funny sound effects, the stereotypical ones. I don't really know who they're done by, but those little jingles.
Yeah.
It's normally like a three chime
Yeah.
thing. Well, she's got great facial expressions for just
Yes.
looking here, there, then back there again.
Yeah.
Everything. She always gave like 110%
She did, yeah.
on every little thing. And one particular scene which I really liked was when she was trying to do the whole karate stuff and the karate moves when she's trying to talk to Tom. So yeah, Alice was just fantastic, and how she worked alongside Alex as like the duo was brilliant. And I've said to you backstage as well at the interval, he'd make a really good Doctor Who.
Completely.
He, honestly, God, he would. He's got a lot of comic timing and great characterizations in his body language as well, and how he holds himself and his facial expressions and urgency, and his voice is great, and how she reacts to them as well. It's very much Doctor and companion there.
It's understanding that the physical space and the captivating performance that is very hard to come by when it's seen. It's like this is the level of energy you need, and it was the sleight of hand when it came to overacting and understanding which character overacted and which one didn't, and it was like there were so many moments with both of them that they really understood what they were meant to be doing at certain points and certain times,
Yeah.
And it's actually quite funny because, actually thinking about it, Watson played more of a key role in this production a lot of the time, because Watson didn't really change characters much.
No.
At all. Apart from the farmer, Watson stayed as Watson all the way through.
Yeah.
Whereas Sherlock became
everybody
and anybody. Yeah. So it was,
including the woman.
But I think from a pace perspective, you need the odd character in that group of four people to stay in a familiar role.
Yeah.
Because then it feels like you're travelling through different places. If you mix it up too much, you can get a bit disorientated, and I think that was quite well done, where Watson was quite almost a constant mostly to it.
And I think that actually that's a good idea, because you know it's a Sherlock Holmes mystery, but because Sherlock Holmes isn't necessarily in it all the way through in this production, having the actor play that, do all the other roles,
exactly,
makes you know that his presence is there. And again, this is where Alex Phelps's ability to have so many different characters, because he's very much a character actor.
Definitely.
Do all those characters and impressions, and also dialect.
Yes.
And accents. And Tom got a lot of accents as well.
Yes, definitely.
Although it was only meant to be Canadian.
They couldn't do Canadian. They could do everything else.
No, it was meant to be Canadian, but do everything else but that. But again, that led to the comedy and everything. And he gave a fantastic performance all the way through. I think Tom Richardson was giving such a strong performance all the way through this, especially when it came to him having to take his trousers off. I mean, some of those scenes were pretty funny all the way through, and also trying to wrestle with his accents all the way through, because that was never like let go of.
No, it was not at all.
Like not a constant running gag, but it was.
There's times with that type of character where they can almost break character, and I don't think he did, even though he was being pushed, and there was times when they had to break out of character, but he did it in such a clever way where he'd talk to the audience or he'd do little things that he'd never really lose his track. And it was quite a clever thing to see, really.
It's one of them productions where, because of all the cast working so well together, you can just see the love and the energy within the room between them all, and how they're all interacting with each other and how they're just getting on with the production. But what you see, as well as the hard work that they're showing us after, I'm sure, like weeks and months of rehearsals, is the fact that they're really enjoying what they're doing. It's hard to describe, but there's an energy of them really loving it and enjoying it and sending everything up, and you want to be a part of that, and they want you to be a part of that as well.
I think there was moments where it was mesmerising, really, that you were just watching this happen in front of us, because it felt very organic, even though it was obviously scripted, and I think that's such a compliment, because you know, for me to watch something and almost feel like they're as surprised as we are that things have gone right or happened, or you know, because it gave you that level of on edgeness that you were like, they will get through this. Or there was that scene where Alex almost gets affected by the one scene that gives him flashbacks to reality, you know, that
the one with the red eyes,
with the red eyes from the, you know, from the you know, recreating the beast and stuff like that, and it gave him flashbacks to a doctor and this, that, and the other, and I think that says how much much thought's gone into the script, because it just gave them so many more levels that like, you know, they had to almost break character at that point and then get straight back to it, you know, later on. And I think it evokes that level of believability, and I think that then makes you feel like you want to be with it and carry on through and watch it till the end as well.
Well, it was in that scene where they were threatening to play him his calming music, which turned out to be Kylie's I Should Be So Lucky, which is very like surreal and weird at the sense at the same time. But even those kind of things are small little things, but it's a joke.
It is, yeah.
It sends everything up and sends that character up as well.
Yeah,
really. You know,
a little
don't take
bit
yourself too seriously.
And I
at
think
all.
that showed in the second half where Alex's character, well, it was Alex, you know, playing Alex, where he goes off on
sounds like an insult.
I know, but he goes off on a bit of a social media rant where he's reading a post out to the audience at the very beginning of the second half, where he basically, like, it's clearly written into the script, but the way it's been written into the script, and this is where the complicity stuff comes that we've mentioned earlier. I feel like this is the how to fine tune something to make it appear and talk about social media, or make it feel modern, or talk about something, but it doesn't feel awkward, or we've got to shove this modern reference in. It actually felt part of it and funny, and I think that's the fine line that they hit with this.
Well, do you want to explain what you're talking about?
I don't know what I'm talking about.
No, evidently. It's because somebody had written a post and hashtagged them in on social media, probably Instagram, that they're not enjoying it or something like that.
They thought it was slow in the first half.
Oh yeah, or Alex was slow in the first half. That was it. Yeah, letting the side down something. So he was sending them up, and
he basically said, "Right, I'll show you how to do it fast." And he reran the entire first half at breakneck speed. You know,
which is it's one of them, because you're doing it as a farce. It's a way to include the farce within the farce.
Yeah, and remind everybody what happened.
The first whole act within like 5 minutes of a rehash, so you get it all again. But it was so cleverly done and wonderfully portrayed.
Very cleverly done.
And then, but it just gets better and better. I think a round of applause should go to the directors of this,
Definitely.
both Joyce and Nick, I believe, simply because the direction was just spot on. Constantly, there was movement all the time, and even if there was like a brief silent moment, there was a facial expression, that gap could not go without something happening or somebody coming on with something and that being funny. You know, it was just constant, something happening all the time. And I think if you're going to direct something like this, you need to know exactly what you're doing and what you hope to achieve, and have something strong and a really good eye for detail for this.
I was going to pick up as well on the fact that from a directorial perspective, it's clear that they understand how to act in the round and how to make everybody feel like you're watching the same production, because
Agreed.
there was a lot of space used all the time. There was every inch of that stage was used, and there wasn't really any moment where anybody had their back to one side of the audience too long, because it's very easy to act it in a thrust method where you you use the three sides and forget that there's another one waiting, watching from the other side. But this, I never felt like because we sat by one of the entrances to the stage, which technically was the back of the stage where we were sat.
Yeah.
And actually, I didn't even feel like we missed out at all.
We didn't miss anything.
Every movement included the whole audience. They were always acknowledging that this production was a 360-degree one.
Again, like they did things in threes as well.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
each character got their turn, but they
Yeah.
moved it around so every section of the auditorium
Yeah,
could see it.
and even when they were facing with their backs to us, they'd turn their bodies so that you got more of a view at all times, and I think that reaction helped. And that isn't easy to direct, because you're basically telling people to go against convention that a short journey is just one line across stage, but these things were happening where they walked full distance round a stage just to pick a table up to put it a metre away from where it already was. But actually that longer journey made it include everybody in that room, and it gave the dialogue time to bed in as well. And
Yeah.
I think that's important with it.
And there's just a lot to take in. So many different scenes, because again, this is, like you say, 39 steps. It's a journey. It's a travelling sort of production.
Yeah.
So you go from place to place to place.
Yeah.
So you haven't necessarily got a permanent set, but you've got things to allow it, and Brief Encounter add up to that as well, where because you're moving around, you need things coming on and off quickly and things done sharply.
Yes.
Just to add the
definitely.
surprise element and to keep it fresh and fun and constantly going and spinning the plates. Because that's what it is. It's like all the actors are coming on just to spin the plate, to go off, then come back on and spin the plate.
Yeah.
You can't let it stop.
Yeah,
and that's the
exactly.
kind of production that this is. So many great scenes. So many. I've just enjoyed all these scenes. So one highlight for me was in Act 2, where they were trying to, Dr. Watson was trying to look into this house that they were trying to get to see what was going on. And considering we've just had a bare stage pretty much throughout with just the rock pools, we ended up having these windows and doors come from above. Just the frames, painted white, come straight down, and then a staircase banister where the hole in the floor turned into stairs to go down. And then while she was telling us, reporting to Sherlock what she could see, they were going through the motions, but it was silent.
Yeah.
So they never spoke, but obviously they were doing the movements and they're reacting to what she was saying. But that was such a brilliant scene, how they had that go on, that I wasn't expecting that.
No, exactly. I mean, I was going to add to that, because you mentioned the rock pools, and for me it was those. I talked about the false floor earlier in this episode, and the clever use of these rock pool come sand pits or mud pits or whatever they were. Basically, they lined them up over the actual false floor, and there was a couple of scenes where actually somebody was sinking in those mud scenes, and at first they'd bend down and slowly move down like they were doing a bit of a lift mime, but then the next minute...
But that was because it was in the second one.
Yeah, but then in
wasn't.
the next minute they actually used this lift and actually made people disappear fully through it, and it was like, it was so like clever, but so just just used for the right amount of times for it to not become a repetitive thing. It just felt, right. And then that also led into the scene you were talking about then, where they put white railings around that to become a staircase down into below under the actual orangery or whatever it was meant to depict.
And those kind of things I just think are fascinating. So it's so simple. I think if you keep it simple and not complicate things, you can believe in anything.
And I think for me it's about committing to that simplicity. You know, because it's easy for a cast to go, well, what do you mean I've got to stand by this fake window with no walls? You know, but if you commit to the fact that has got walls, you just can't see them. Or it was a bit like in that
and she
scene.
did.
And she did. She walked around the side of the building like there was walls.
Yeah.
And there was no walls there, but she
did
see
like she was
that
on a ledge though,
and you could see that ledge, and you could see that she's, and I think they're the intricacies that bring it to life. I think one thing I'd like to talk about now is costume and prop use, because it's a part of the production that, because this is bare stage theatre, the costumes and the props drive this production. And for me, it, the amount of costume changes Alex did, actually thinking about it, he was probably the one that did most of the changes.
Oh yeah,
throughout
absolutely,
the production.
Yeah. And he looks very good in a dress.
Yeah. Who'd have thought he'd look good
Quite
as an
smitten.
Edwardian lady?
Yeah. Yeah. In the pink one, not necessarily the housemaid.
Yeah, or the young girl.
Pardon?
When he had the pigtails.
Oh my God, yeah, I completely forgot about that. That was hilarious, yes.
Anyway, so what we're actually getting to here is there was times when...
Elizabeth Wright.
Because Sherlock Holmes was being elusive for the second half. Well, actually, Sherlock Holmes being elusive because he was becoming all these other characters. So Sherlock became all the different characters and physicalities and performance of different people throughout this journey, shall we say?
Yeah.
I think the other two to mention is the Dartmoor farmers.
Oh yeah.
Because they were just like the two farmers in the Two Ronnies.
Yeah,
they were very much
they?
standing at the end of the gate, chewing the cud, like basically not saying much but saying a lot, and it was I never thought I'd see. I never thought I'd see a lamb in a bag, which that got silenced, shall we say?
And see the cow in the bag.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, that was just, to me, it was each character was very strong, and then Alex's characters that he kept bringing out were just even more pinnacle to the production, really.
Yeah.
I think it started as well for me when he became the train conductor.
Oh yeah.
In the first part of the production almost, and that started the ball rolling.
Well, it
almost
went quick from Sherlock Holmes straight to that conductor.
Yeah,
in
exactly.
a split second.
Yeah,
and even Dr. Watson was took by surprise. Like,
yeah,
Alex, you're not supposed to be. Oh, you are. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Into the carriage I go.
Yeah, and then when he became the housekeeper, and then he became all the other key characters that you meet along the way.
But while they all had great costumes that really suited their characters, I thought Dr. Watson's character, I thought Alice's character, Dr. Watson, had a really good costume for her, very much fitting for her, because it was like made to measure.
It really was.
Sort of thing. It sounds really weird, but she looks so cute in it. You know what I mean? With a tiny little gun to go with a tiny little gun holster. Just so funny, and like a huge bowler hat.
Very much lent into the performance, and it looked like Penfold. It was very much, and that's all I kept seeing. It was like,
but it's really good. Yeah. And also like Tom Richardson's character, he was like
Rupert the Bear.
I was going to think like Cuthbert Lily.
Yeah, definitely.
Certain people of a certain age probably won't get that reference. We're 80s babies.
Yeah, we are.
But he was very much dressed in yellow, if I remember right.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
So, that's the kind of character you've got. Like,
definitely.
Yeah, definitely Rupert without the red.
Yes,
jumper.
definitely. Yeah.
Yeah,
Needed the scarf.
Yeah, so he had. Well, the thing is, like you say about the costumes, I believe it was Elizabeth Wright that designed them.
Yeah.
And also, did you know, just between ourselves, London Classic Theatre, so she'd already done costumes for Tom Richardson
Yes.
in that set, and they had some really good costumes there as well.
Yeah, and I think for me there was enough of the nod to
What?
enough of the nod to classic Sherlock Holmes style sort of stories with these costumes to evoke that era, like the
Well, did you just mean it was like of the era, of the time period?
yeah, that's what I mean. It
Victoriana?
was Victorian, and it felt very in that time period. And but I think as well, the reason I'm going with that is like when Alex became the housekeeper, the lady, there was clearly padding fitted into these costumes. So the minute he put them on, it became the next character. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It was a complete change. But it was a quick change because it was literally put your arms in, tight, like link it at the back, and off you go.
Well,
again.
a lot of them were pretty much like colourful hospital gowns, really,
Yes.
that he had to wear for quick
Yeah.
on and off. But let's not forget, poor Jay,
Yes.
he did have to wear that lady's, Celestine? Or,
Yes.
that, her name? Again, can't remember, but the lady in pink.
Yeah.
He got to wear a hat with a wig, and then he got to actually wear the costume, but he never got to wear them at the same time.
No.
But he did get to play a character other than a
exactly.
techie, which was really good.
Yeah, and I think they
Because
all
he had a not breakdown. He had a breakdance in that.
the breakdown's not a breakdown. Yeah, definitely. And I think there was loads of little nods to lean into like some little bits of modern humour and modern things, and I think it worked really well. It's that's can be a fine line as well to mess about with the eras, but actually it worked cleverly. And
Well, that's it. Alice, she was going to do the singer Katie Mellua's song, 99 Million Bicycles in the Moon or something.
Yeah.
Whatever that was.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
But the other bit that made me laugh was the dance scene between Sir Baskerville and his love. And you'd got Jay and you'd got Watson running around with a ribbon and bubbles, and it was this was just what's happening here.
Yeah.
And
What's
it's
it
just
doing
it
serenading
just,
tango.
Yeah, and it's that was really nice to see as well. Moving on to our next segment, as we say,
What the tech is this?
I mean, technical aspects for this production, I think it's nice to see when everybody was mic'd and you wouldn't know it.
Exactly.
It was done for reinforcement. It was done to enhance the production, which it did.
And we never had any issues like we do
Not
that we
once.
have had previously.
Yeah, we've had too many professional productions recently where we've seen mics not work or things not happen, and it really riles me because I feel like that should be the first thing you iron out. We're paying audience that expect to hear the production, and I think if that becomes a problem, then we shouldn't be we should be getting that better. I think as well. Go on, sorry.
Oh, well, I was just going to add in, from my perspective, I thought it was great the fact that we had the music and the sound cues. It was quite heavy.
It was.
with the audio tracks there.
Was.
And they never missed a beat. It was always on cue, always right on time, and it matched up with the lighting as well. So it was quite a visual and audible production.
Yeah, and to enhance that as well, when you're doing an in the round production and there's nothing on stage, you have to create the soundscapes of being in the countryside or being on a train or being in a house. You've got to have all those elements, and that's where sound and sound effects come in this sort of production, because you need to centre it somewhere so you're moving somewhere else. And I think they really hit the nail on the head with this production.
Absolutely.
It's clear they've had fun doing it, because even the opening scene where they're opening a door and closing a door and running out of a door, and all those things were all happening in the right way. And same like you say with the lighting, they never missed a spotlight or
especially when Alex was trying to tell Watson that he was Sherlock
Holmes. Yeah, exactly. But it was like
to mouth.
They never missed the spotlight, even when it wasn't in the right place for the right reason, because it was actually part of the comedy element. Everything happened in the right way. So, it's I suppose one thing we can talk about here is we've been jumping back to props almost, but it's more lighting and technical side as well. Is the bed scene?
Yes.
Where we keep having blackouts for them in the country house. They simply bring a bed on stage to create 2 bedrooms. There's one bed, and underneath it is a false bottom part of the bed, and basically the Watson and Sir Baskerville keep swapping the bed in the blackouts, and it was done so well.
Yeah. I mean, yes. I mean, where we were sat, we could see either feet under the thing underneath, whatever. But that didn't really distract anything because you knew they were there anyway.
It's meant to be fun.
Yeah,
it's meant to be, that's the whole point of it. But
once, it was quite good for that scene because whilst they were like rotating who was in the bed, there was one scene where neither of them were in the bed, and the next time they were both in the same bed.
And I think for me, it was quite interesting just before that bed scene happened that the tech crew brought the bed on in the dark.
Yeah.
Not one of them needed a torch.
No.
They just brought it on and ran off.
Yeah.
I watched them because I could see them do it.
Yeah.
And I thought, that's the level we need to be at with this production because that bed just appeared on stage.
Yeah, with the actor on it.
With them on it, ready. It was like there.
Yeah.
You didn't even see the tech crew because, yes, you've got Jay that becomes part of other things.
But he's meant to be seen.
Yeah, this was about making a ghostly apparition sort of. This is a nighttime scene in the dark, and oh my god, for that to just happen with a click of a finger, it was great.
Yeah, it was brilliant. And now it's time for
Rewind Rewatch.
It's an easy one for me.
Watch it all again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Straight away.
Yeah.
Because why not? I wouldn't get bored of this.
No. And the thing is, there's so many really good scenes here.
Yes.
Like the Casper scene when they're trying to cross the swampy pond.
Yeah, exactly.
How that worked out. Do you want to explain it a little bit?
Well, it was clear that we've got a little bit of a play on some lyric of DJ Casper, the Cha-Cha Slide, and let's break it down. That's how they get across the pond, shall we say.
Yeah.
And it was very similar to the travelling scene in 39 Steps where we're travelling through. There's one scene where they're having to get across fields or whatever they're doing, and they're literally walking across stage in this thing, but they did it in a very funny, cheeky way about let's do the Cha-Cha Slide to get across, and it became almost lions and tigers and bears, and it was like that whole thing where we're going to get across this in different ways. So I thought that was clever.
Yeah, so many other. Have you got a particular favourite scene?
For me, it was the second half where all of a sudden Sherlock says, Alex announces, it's best if I'm not in the next scene and waiting and watching through the window because there won't be any characters to interact with anybody. And I think that almost set so much up for, you knew it was going to be a fast-paced part of the sort of production. And also...
Well, that was the bit where she was going, Watson were overlooking the house.
Yes, exactly.
The windows, so he had to be in the house to be those other characters,
There was one little moment, it's not necessarily a full scene, but it was when one of the house servants, the manservant, became his sister.
Yeah.
in a flick of a moustache. To a hat. And it was such a funny moment.
No, that was his wife, wasn't it?
It was his wife. It was from being the house servant to the house servant's wife, with the flick of a beard became the wig, and it just became. It was such a sleight of hand that it was so quick that
and just like one movement.
Yeah, definitely. It was very well done. Very well done.
Yeah, I particularly enjoyed any scenes where Alex was the woman in the pink dress, simply because there was one particular scene when he was trying to seduce Sir Baskerville, just how he kept moving the fan.
Oh, the fanology was brilliant.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah.
The little flicks and because it's easy to get fan flicks just done wrong and not look strong and powerful, and it worked really well.
Moving on to our final segment, as we say,
call this a show?
For me, this production stands up against a lot of other theatre that has got this level of quality and performance style, and I think you can learn a lot from this this style because you have, as an actor, you have to commit to this type of characterization, and also you've got to commit to working together as a team to pull this off, because you can't have a dud link in this team. No. You've got to work together and you've got to gel. So it was clear that there was a lot of hard work gone in to actually pull this off as a production.
I thought this was just thoroughly entertaining from the very start all the way to the end. We have seen productions like this, and I love it. And I thought this was very much high standard, high quality, and everyone was on their game. And I'm really grateful that we took a punt to go and see this, because I think there's 4 incredible actors there that I get to see. I mean, the 2 that I've already explained that I know, but there's 2 more there that it would be nice to see their careers flourish, because they're just fantastic.
Definitely. No, I agree.
You know, and I don't say it lightly, but this production is a masterpiece.
Yeah. In
everything, you know, sound, lighting, technical aspect of everything, acting, how you even write a script as well, and directing and movement and choreography and stuff,
Completely. Brilliant. And it's hard to also work out which bits were improvised and which bits are in the script. And I think that's when you know that they're at a level where actually they are also enjoying the production as well as just delivering it, shall we say.
Scores then, please, Richard, for The Hound of the Baskervilles. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being a masterclass of theatrics, my dear Watson, and 1 being hounded by a bunch of Baskervilles. What's it going to be?
Well, Stephen, it could only be a 10, because I can't give it any more.
Yep, and I'll give it 11. I mean, I'll give it a 10. So you know what that means in our little score? 10 out of 10, it's a 5-star production.
It most certainly is.
So, what sound effect will you be choosing from the following? A complete train wreck? Tumbleweed? An audible shrug of the shoulders? A slow clap? A pleasant applause? Or a standing ovation? What will it be?
It's got to be a standing ovation which it got tonight.
Absolutely. Standing ovation from me as well.
So there we are. That's our discussion of The Hounds of the Baskervilles. We hope you find it insightful.
If not, entertaining.
Stay tuned as we bring you more of our thoughts
and opinions
on many theatrical delights in future episodes. If you'd like to get in touch, email us at upstagedownsstagepod@gmail.com. You can always join in the chat to share with us your views of a production.
Also, make sure to follow, share, like and subscribe to all our channels so you get every episode the second it's released. And we hope you join us again for another instalment of
Upstage Downstage.
And we've seen him previously in Noises Off at
Yep.
St. Joseph Theatre in Scarborough.
In where?
St. Joseph Theatre in Scarborough. St. Stephen's Theatre.
Stephen Joseph. In the where, Stephen? Adapted for the stage by Steve Canny and John Nicholas.
Stephen.
Oh, was that like yeah. Mixes this acclaimed reinvention of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's most famous tale of mixers.
Do you want a comma there?
Yeah, please. Thanks.
I mean, he doesn't need one, but you need one.
This acclaimed reinvention of the...
Dis. Go from adapted.
I'm going to.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, I thought I might. Adapted for the stage by Stephen Canny and Sir... So, Stephen, what's it all about?
Legendary detectives. What? Well, you put me off when you went like that. I thought you was either having a fart or you were doing something. I don't know what you were doing. Put me off.
So there we are. That's our discussion of
The Hound. in your own time, Richard.
So